Lisa Morgan opened her eyes slowly. The white walls around her glowed with soft light. She felt cold metal under her back and sat up quickly. Her head hurt badly. She looked around the strange room and saw 3 other women lying on similar metal tables. Amy Carter was the first to wake up after Lisa. Amy worked as the communications officer on their ship. She had short brown hair and always stayed calm during problems. Kate Phillips woke up next. She was their science doctor who studied alien life forms. Kate had long red hair and green eyes. The last woman to wake was Maya Brooks. She used to be a soldier before joining their space crew. Maya had black hair and strong muscles. Lisa remembered being on the Star Runner ship they were exploring, a new part of space. When bright lights surrounded their vessel, then everything went dark. Now they were in this white room, with no windows or doors that they could see. Air felt different here. It was clean, but had a strange smell like flowers, mixed with metal. Lisa stood up and walked to one wall. She touched it but felt nothing. Her hand went right through, like the wall was not really there. Amy sat up and rubbed her head. "Where are we?" she asked. Her voice sounded scared. Lisa had never heard Amy sound scared before. Amy always knew how to fix communication problems and talk to anyone. Kate looked at her hands and arms, checking for injuries. She was always careful about her health, because she worked with dangerous alien plants and animals. "I do not remember how we got here," Kate said. She spoke slowly, like she was thinking hard about each word. Maya jumped off her table and looked around the room like she was ready to fight. She moved like a cat, ready to attack. Maya had been trained to protect people in dangerous places. Before she came to space, she fought in wars. "On Earth we need to find a way out," Maya said. The room began to change. The white walls became clear like glass. Now they could see outside. They were in space, but not near any planet. Lisa knew the stars looked different, and there were 3 suns in the distance. A voice spoke to them, but they could not see who was talking. The voice sounded like a woman, but with strange sounds mixed in. "Welcome, humans, to the Zephyrian Empire," the voice said. "You have been chosen for a great honor." Lisa stepped forward. "Who are you, and why did you take us from our ship?" she asked. Lisa tried to sound strong, even though she felt afraid. She was the captain and needed to protect her crew. "You may call me High Arbiter Velnara," the voice said. "I speak for the Zephyrian people. We have watched your species for many years. Humans are young and primitive, but you show promise." Sammy stood next to Lisa. "What do you want with us?" Amy asked. She looked around, trying to find where the voice came from. Amy was good at finding signals and tracking communications. "Your species must prove it deserves to join the galactic community," Velnara said. "Many species have tried this test. Most fail and are destroyed. Those who pass earn the right to travel among the stars." Kate moved closer to the others. "What kind of test?" she asked. Kate studied alien cultures and knew that some species had strange customs. Kate worried about what these aliens wanted them to do. "You will be taken to the planet Kethmore," Velnara said. "4 of you will face the grand survival trial. You may use no technology from your world. You must survive using only what the planet provides." Maya clenched her fists. "How long must we survive?" she asked. Maya had survived in wild places before, but always with proper equipment. Maya knew that surviving without tools was very dangerous. 30 days, Velnara said. "If you live and show worthy skills, you may return to your people. If you fail, your species will be marked as unfit for space travel." The room began to spin around them. Lisa felt sick and grabbed Amy to stay standing. The walls became bright white again, and they could not see outside anymore. When the spinning stopped, they were wearing different clothes. Their space uniforms were gone. Now they wore simple brown pants and shirts made of rough cloth. They had no shoes and no equipment. Lisa checked her pockets but found nothing Amy looked for. Her communication device, but it was gone. Kate searched for her medical supplies and scientific tools, but they were not there. Maya felt for her weapons, but found only empty air. The floor under them began to move down like a slow elevator. They could see they were in a small metal room, going down through a long tube. Outside the tube walls they saw dirt and rocks. They were going underground into a planet. The Smell of earth and plants came into their room. Lisa had grown up on a farm before joining the space program. She knew the smell of dirt and growing things. The air felt warm and wet, like a jug. After a long time the room stopped moving. A wall opened and they could see outside. There were huge trees everywhere. The trees were taller than any building Lisa had ever seen. Green plants covered the ground and hung from tree branches. Sounds came from the jungle. Birds made calls that sounded like music. Insects buzzed in ways Lisa had never heard. Water dripped from leaves above them. The air was full of life. Amy stepped toward the opening, but stopped when she saw movement in the trees. Something large was moving between the branches, but they could not see what it was. Amy backed away from the opening. Kate looked at the plants near the opening. Some had bright colors that might mean they were dangerous. Kate knew that bright colors often meant poison in nature. Kate wanted to study the plants, but had no tools. Maya looked up at the sky through the trees. The light was different. Here it was not yellow like Earth's sun, but more orange. The shadows were darker and moved in strange ways. "You have 1 hour to leave this transport," Velnara said. "Then it will return to our ship. You must survive on your own. Remember, you are being watched. Your actions will determine the fate of your entire species." Looked at her 3 friends. They were all afraid, but trying to be brave. Lisa knew they had to work together to survive. She thought about her training as a ship captain. Lisa had learned to make quick decisions under pressure. "We stay together," Lisa said. "No matter what happens, we do not split up. We are stronger as a team than alone." Amy nodded. She was good at keeping people connected. Even when they were far apart, Amy would help them talk to each other and work together. Kate picked up a stick from the ground and looked at it carefully. She might not have her scientific tools, but she still knew how to study things. Kate would help them understand this new world. Maya walked to the edge of the opening and looked out at the jungle. She listened to the sounds and watched for movement. Maya would help protect them from danger. The 4 women stepped out of the metal room into the alien jungle. The ground was soft. Under their feet, the air was warm and full of strange smells. Lisa felt the metal room move behind them, but did not look back. They were alone on an alien world, with no tools and no weapons. They had 30 days to prove that humans deserved to travel among the stars. Lisa looked at Amy, Kate, and Maya. They would find a way to survive. They had to. The 4 human women walked deeper into the jungle. The trees grew so tall that little sunlight reached the ground. Strange vines hung everywhere like thick ropes. Lisa pushed through hanging leaves that felt smooth and cold. Amy followed close behind, looking up at the canopy above. Then Kate stopped to examine bright purple flowers growing on a nearby tree. She did not touch them, but leaned close to smell them. The flowers had no scent, but tiny insects crawled around their petals. Kate made mental notes about everything she saw. Maya walked at the back of the group, watching behind them for any followers. She listened to every sound and watched every shadow. Maya had learned in the military to always know what was happening around her. After walking for 2 hours, they heard voices ahead. Lisa held up her hand, and the group stopped moving. The voices did not sound human. They spoke in musical tones that went up and down like singing. Lisa crept forward through the thick plants until she could see a small clearing. 2 beings sat by a tiny fire. One looked almost human, but had pointed ears and silver hair that seemed to glow. The other looked like a large lizard walking on 2 legs. The elf-like being spoke in perfect English. "We know you are there, humans. You may come forward. We will not harm you." Lisa looked back at her team and nodded. They walked into the clearing together. The elf woman stood up gracefully. She was tall and thin with pale skin and bright blue eyes. Her clothes were made from woven plant fibers. "My name is Lirelei," the elf said. "I am from the world Sylvander. My people took this trial 40 years ago. We failed, and now serve as guides for new species." The lizard being stood up as well. She was shorter than the humans but had thick muscles and sharp claws. Her skin was dark green with yellow stripes. Her voice was deep and rough. "I am Zerathic, from the desert world." "Zarian," she said. "My people barely passed the trial 20 years ago. We earned limited rights." In the galactic community, Amy stepped forward. Why are you helping other species take the trial? She asked. Amy was always curious about how different groups communicated and worked together. Lorelei looked sad. Those who fail become servants to the Zephyrians. Our worlds must provide guides for future trials. Those who barely pass like Zerathix. People must prove their worth by helping weaker species. Kate examined both aliens with scientific interest. How many species have taken this trial? She asked. Kate wanted to understand the bigger picture of what they said. Jurassic sat down by the fire and poked it with a stick. Over 200 species have tried the trial, she said. Less than 50 have passed. Most are destroyed when they fail. Their worlds are marked as forbidden. Maya studied both aliens, looking for signs of threat or weakness. Are you here to help us or watch us? She asked. Maya trusted no one until they proved themselves. Both. Lorelei said, we guide you, but we also report to the Zephyrians. If you show promise, we help more. If you seem weak, we must protect ourselves from punishment. Lisa sat down across from them. What does the trial really test? She asked. Lisa needed to understand the rules. If they were going to win, is only part of it, Lorelei said. The Zephyrians want to see intelligence, creativity, and the ability to grow. My people were too traditional. We did the same things our ancestors did for thousands of years. Zerathix. People were too aggressive. Lorelei continued. They fought everything, including each other. The Zephyrians decided they might be dangerous to the galactic communities. So what do humans need to show? Amy asked. Amy understood that communication and cooperation were important, but wanted to know what else mattered. Something new. Zerathix said, something no other species has shown before. The Zephyrians are bored. They have seen the same survival techniques over and over. Lorelei nodded. They want innovation, she said. New ways of solving problems, new ways of thinking about challenges. Kate looked around the clearing. What resources are available on this planet? She asked. Kate needed to catalog what they had to work with. Zerathix pointed to different plants around them. These fruits are safe to eat. Those leaves can be woven into rope. That tree bark burns well, even when wet. Lorelei touched the ground with her hands. The clay here hardens when heated, she said. Water flows underground in most places. Animals avoid the clearing. Because of our fire. Maya picked up a straight stick and tested its strength. What are the main dangers? She asked. Maya wanted to know what threats they needed to prepare for. Large predators hunt at night. Zerathix said the thorn beasts have claws that can cut through most materials. Acid pools exist in some areas that can burn skin quickly. Weather changes without warning, Lorelei added. Rain can flood low areas in minutes. Lightning strikes often during storms. The second sun creates strange heat patterns. Lisa looked at her three friends, then back at the aliens. We need shelter first, she said, then tools and weapons. Then we learn about the bigger challenges. Lee stood up and walked to a nearby tree. She pulled on a vine, and it came down. Easily, she began weaving the vine into a pattern. Most species focus on finding shelter, she said. They look for caves or hollow trees. Amy watched Lorelei work with the vines. That makes sense, Amy said. Shelter protects from weather and predators, but humans might think differently. Zerathix said. She had been watching Lisa, who was looking at the clay ground instead of the trees. Lisa knelt down and picked up some clay. She squeezed it in her hands, feeling how it held together. What if we make shelter instead of finding it? She said. Kate joined Lisa on the ground. She had studied geology and understood different types of earth and rock. This clay has good binding properties, Kate said. It could be shaped and hardened. Maya looked up at the darkening sky. We need something tonight, she said. Tomorrow we can try new ideas. Lorelei and Zerathix helped them build a simple lean-to shelter using branches and large leaves, but Lisa kept playing with the clay in her hands. She was thinking about something different. That night they took turns keeping watch. Lisa could not sleep. She kept thinking about the clay and the fire. Humans had always been good at making things. Other species seemed to use what they found, but humans liked to change materials into something new. Amy sat next to Lisa during her watch shift. What are you thinking about? Amy asked. Amy could see Lisa was working on some kind of problem. Lisa showed Amy the clay she had been shaping. What if we could make things that do not exist? Naturally, she said, what if we could create tools instead of just finding them? Kate overheard them from her sleeping spot. That would be innovation, she said. Something no other species has thought to try. Maya rolled over and looked at them. The aliens said the Zephyrians want to see something new, Maya said. Making things from scratch would definitely be new in the morning. Lirelei and Zerathik taught them about safe plants and clean water sources, but they noticed the humans kept collecting clay and different types of rocks. This is not normal behavior, Zerathik whispered to Lirelei. Most species learn to use what the planet provides. Lirelei watched. Lisa carefully shaped clay into a bowl shape. Maybe that is what makes them different, she whispered. Back maybe? Humans do not just adapt to their environment. Lisa held up her clay bowl and looked at it in the morning light. She had an idea that might change everything. Lisa spent the morning building a small fire pit with stones. She arranged the rocks in a circle and filled the center with dry wood. Amy helped her gather more clay from the riverbank nearby. Kate collected different types of leaves and tested which ones burned best. Maya climbed a tall tree to watch for danger. She could see far across the jungle from up there. The forest seemed peaceful, but Maya knew that could change quickly. She had learned in the military that quiet times often came before attacks. Lirelei and Zerathik watched the humans work with growing interest. They had guided many species through the trial, but had never seen anyone focus so much on making things. Most species spent their time learning to hunt or hide. What are you building? Lirelei asked Lisa. She sat down next to the fire pit and touched one of the carefully placed stones. A kill, Lisa said. She continued arranging smaller stones inside the larger circle, a place to make things harder and stronger with. Controlled. Zerathik tilted her head like a confused animal. I do not understand, she said. Fire is for cooking food and staying warm. Why do you need special fire? Kate knelt beside them and picked up one of Lisa's clay bowls. Watch what happens, she said. Kate placed the bowl in the center of the stone circle, and Lisa lit the fire around it. The fire burned hotter than normal because the stones reflected heat back toward the center. Amy had helped Lisa design the airflow so oxygen fed the flames from below. As the fire grew hotter, the clay bowl began to change color. It is getting harder, Kate explained. The heat removes water from the clay and changes its structure. When it cools, it will be much stronger than before. Aya climbed down from her tree and joined them. She carried several straight branches that could be used as spears. Do other species not know about this? She asked. Lirelei shook her head slowly. My people use fire for warmth and cooking, she said. We never thought to use it to change materials. We accepted what nature provided. Zerathik picked up a piece of clay and squeezed it. It is soft and weak, she said. Why would you want to make it hard? Because hard things can do jobs that soft things cannot do, Lisa said. She pulled the bowl out of the fire with 2 sticks. It was now gray instead of brown, and made a different sound when tapped. Amy tested the fired bowl by filling it with water. The water did not leak out, and the bowl felt strong in her hands. This could hold hot liquids without breaking, she said. Kate had been thinking about other possibilities. We could make sharp points for spears, she said, or containers that do not break when dropped. Maya examined the bowl. Like a weapon, it could be used to carry water long distances, she said, or to cook things that need containers over the next few days. Lisa experimented with different clay mixtures. She added sand to make some pieces stronger. She used different temperatures to create different hardness levels. Kate helped her understand which materials worked best together. Amy developed a system for weaving plant fibers into strong rope. She discovered that some plants had fibers inside their stems that were much stronger than the outside. She taught everyone how to extract and twist these fibers together. Maya focused on making weapons and tools. She learned to fire hardened wooden spear points in Lisa's kill. She created sharp edges on stones by heating them and cooling them quickly. Maya also designed traps using the rope. Amy Lirelei tried to learn the human techniques, but struggled with the patience required. Growing up on a forest world, she was used to finding what she needed in nature. Making things from scratch felt strange and difficult. Zerathik was better at learning the new methods. Her desert people had always been resourceful. She helped Maya test different weapon designs and learned to make her own hardened clay tools. On the 7th day they heard howling. In the distance the sound was deep and frightening. It echoed through the jungle like thunder. Maya immediately climbed her watch tree and looked toward the soundthorn beasts. She called down to the others. A pack of them moving this way. Zarethik grabbed a traditional spear made from a sharpened stick. They are the apex predators on this planet, she said. Their claws can cut through most materials. Their hide is like armor. Lirelei looked terrified. Her people had always hidden from such creatures. We should run, she said. Find a place to hide until they pass. Lisa looked at their camp. They had worked too hard building their kill and collecting materials to abandon everything. We fight, she said, but not the way other species fight. Maya jumped down from the tree. How many are coming? She asked. Maya was already planning defensive positions in her mind. I counted 6 adults, Zarethik said. They will reach our camp before sunset. We cannot outrun them with our human legs. Kate gathered their fired clay containers and hardened tools. We have advantages they do not expect, she said. We have weapons no thorn beast has ever faced. Amy tested the strength of her rope by pulling on it hard. It held without breaking. We can use their strength against them, she said. Set traps they cannot see or understand. Lisa looked around their camp with new eyes. They had created something unique here. They had tools and materials that no other species in trial history had possibly. Rayleigh watched the humans prepare for battle with amazement. Instead of running or hiding, they were planning to fight creatures that had defeated many other species. Maya directed everyone in preparing the campsite. She had them dig shallow pits and cover them with branches and leaves. She positioned sharpened stakes at angles that would catch attacking creatures. Lisa worked quickly to make special clay projectiles. She shaped them into balls with pointed ends and fired them until they were hard as stone. These could be thrown or launched with slings. Amy was making Kate prepared what she called chemical warfare. She had found plants that created thick smoke when burned, and others that made animals sneeze and become confused. Kate mixed these into small clay containers. Amy finished making several slings from woven plant fiber and leather-like bark. The slings could throw Lisa's clay projectiles much harder and farther than human arms alone. As the sun began to set, they heard the thorn beasts getting closer. The creatures made clicking sounds with their claws and snorted through their large nostrils. The sounds grew louder and more frightening. Zarethik had never seen such elaborate preparations for battle. Her people fought with strength and speed, but these humans were using their minds to create advantages. The first thorn beast appeared at the edge of their clearing. It was larger than a horse with thick gray hide and claws as long as human hands. Its eyes glowed yellow in the fading light. Maya gave hand signals to position everyone. The thorn beast looked around the camp suspiciously. It could smell humans but could not see the traps they had prepared. More thorn beasts emerged from the jungle. They moved in a pack formation with the largest male in front. The creatures were magnificent and terrifying at the same time. Lisa held one of her clay projectiles ready. The moment of truth had arrived. They would either prove human innovation could overcome natural superiority, or they would become another failed species. The lead thorn beast stepped forward into their camp. Its massive weight triggered the first trap. The lead thorn beast fell into Maya's hidden pit with a loud crash. Sharp stakes pierced its thick hide, and the creature roared in pain and anger. The other thorn beasts hesitated for a moment, confused by what had happened to their leader. Maya launched a clay projectile from her sling. It hit the second thorn beast in the eye. The creature stumbled backward, clawing at its face. Maya threw one of Kate's smoke bombs. The clearing filled with thick gray smoke that made the beasts cough and wheeze. Coordinated their attack. Using hand signals she had developed with Amy, the humans moved in pairs, while the thorn beasts struggled to see through the smoke. Kate threw more chemical bombs that made the creatures sneeze and lose their coordinates. Fought alongside them, using traditional weapons, but she watched in amazement as the humans used tools she had never imagined. The clay projectiles hit harder than any thrown stone. The smoke confused the predators complete. Lorelei had climbed a tree for safety, but she could see the entire battle. She watched Maya direct the humans like a military commander. Each person had a specific job, and they worked together perfectly. The thorn beasts tried to charge, but kept falling into more hidden pits. The humans had dug 6 traps around their camp in a pattern that forced the creatures into kill zones. Amy and Lisa used their slings to attack from different angles. Kit had prepared special arrows using hardened clay points and Amy's rope. 4 strings. Maya found flexible wood that worked like a bow. The arrows pierced the thorn beast's hide in ways that traditional wooden spears could not. Within an hour all 6 thorn beasts were dead or dying. The humans had won a battle that should have been impossible. Lisa looked around at her team. They were all injured but alive. They had proven something important. Tensor stared at the defeated predators. No species has ever killed thorn beasts. In direct combat, she said, my people would have lost half our warriors in such a fight. Rally climbed down from her tree. Her hands were shaking with excitement and fear. You used your minds instead of just your bodies, she said. You made the environment work for you instead of against youth. Next morning, a new voice spoke to them from the sky. It was different from High Arbiter Velnara. This voice sounded angry and worried. I am War Commander Keltax. The voice said, you humans are advancing too quickly. The trial was meant to test survival, not innovation. Lisa looked up at the sky. We are surviving, she said. We are using our intelligence to overcome challenges. Is that not what you wanted to see? You are changing the rules. Kelfax said, other species accept their limitations and work within them. You create new possibilities that did not exist before. Me stood next to Lisa. Is creating new possibilities wrong? She asked. Is intelligence not a valuable trait for galactic citizenship? Kate joined them. We are not breaking any rules, she said. We use only materials found on this planet. We create no technology from our own world. Maya crossed her arms and looked angry. You said we could use anything the planet provides, she said. Clay is from the planet. Fire is natural. We are following your rules. Exactly. Kilfax was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was cold. The final trial will begin immediately, he said. You will face the Void Stalker. 3 days early. Sarathic gasped and stepped backward. The Void Stalker, she said. That is the ultimate test. No species faces that until they have survived the full 30 days. Laral looked terrified. The Void Stalker learns from everything you do against it, she said. It adapts to every attack. It becomes smarter during each fight. Lisa felt fear in her stomach, but kept her voice steady. What exactly is a Void Stalker? She asked. Lisa needed to understand what they would face. Falta sounded pleased to explain. It is a creature designed by our scientists to hunt intelligent life. It has no weaknesses that previous species could exploit. It learns faster than its prey can adapt. The creature will be released at sunset tomorrow. Kelfax continued. You have until then to prepare. If you defeat it, you pass the trial. If it defeats you, your species is marked for destruction. Amy looked at her friends. We have 3 days to prepare for something that has never been defeated, she said. We need to think differently than any species. Before US Kate began planning immediately. We need to understand how it learns, she said. If it adapts to everything we do, we must do things it cannot predict. Maya started gathering materials for new weapons. If it learns from our attacks, we need attacks it has never seen before, she said. We need to be more creative than we have ever. Lisa looked at their campsite with the kill and tools they had created. We have advantages. No other species has had, she said. We can make things it has never encountered. Laleali offered to help them prepare. Even though my people failed, I want to learn your methods, she said. Perhaps we can defeat something that has never been defeated. Zorathic nodded firmly. My people barely passed because we were too predictable, she said. You humans think in ways no one expects. The group spent the rest of the day planning. Lisa designed new types of projectiles, with different shapes and purposes. Kate studied plants to find new chemical combinations. Amy created complex rope systems for traps and coordination. Planned battle strategies that used multiple types of attacks simultaneously. She knew that if the creature learned from each attack, they had to attack with everything at once. As the sun set, they realized they were attempting something unprecedented. In galactic history, they were going to fight a creature specifically designed to be unbeatable, using tools and methods that had never existed. Before Lissa looked at the alien suns setting through the jungle canopy tomorrow, they would either prove that human innovation could overcome any challenge, or they would be the last humans to ever see another sunset. Kate had found new plants that created different effects. When mixed together, she was preparing chemical weapons that no Void Stalker had ever encountered. Amy was weaving rope systems that could coordinate their entire team. Instantly, Maya sharpened new arrows and tested improved slings. She had ideas for attacks that combined all their innovations into coordinated strikes. Zarathic and Lirale watched them work with growing hope. Perhaps something that had never been done could finally be accomplished. Perhaps intelligence and creativity could triumph over designed perfection. The Void Stalker would be released in 18 hours. They had that long to create miracles. The humans worked through the night, preparing for the Void Stalker. Lisa created special clay grenades that would break apart and release different chemicals. Kate mixed plant compounds that would create smoke flash effects and confusion. Amy wove an intricate rope communication system that connected their entire battle area. Maya designed the most complex battle plan she had ever conceived. The plan required perfect timing and coordination between all team members. She drew diagrams in the dirt showing positions, movements, and attack sequences. Lirale and Zarathic helped gather materials, but mostly watched in fascination. They had never seen such intensive preparation for battle. Their own species had relied on natural abilities, rather than created advantages. Dawn approached. They heard a mechanical sound from above. A metal container descended from the sky and landed at the edge of their camp. The container opened with a hiss, and something dark moved inside. The Void Stalker emerged slowly. It looked like a giant black cat, but with 6 legs and silver eyes that seemed to glow. The creature was beautiful and terrifying. Its fur absorbed light, making it hard to see clearly. The creature stopped and studied their camp. Its head moved back and forth as it examined every detail the Void Stalker was learning about its prey before attacking. It noted the fire pit, the tools, and the positions of each human. Maya gave the first signal. Amy activated their rope communication system by pulling on specific lines. This told everyone to move to their starting positions. The battle for human survival began. The Void Stalker moved toward Lisa first. It had identified her as the leader through their preparations. Lisa threw one of her clay grenades. The creature dodged easily, but seemed surprised by the explosion of smoke. Kate launched her chemical arrows from a hidden position. The Void Stalker avoided most of them, but one arrow hit its shoulder. The creature paused and examined the wound. It was learning about their weapons. Zami used her sling to launch clay projectiles from a third direction. The Void Stalker caught one projectile in its mouth and crushed it. The creature was studying the hardness and composition of their ammunition. Maya coordinated the attack through rope signals. The humans attacked from 4 directions at once. Using different types of weapons, the Void Stalker defended against each attack, but had to divide its attentions. Zarathic joined the battle using traditional spears. The Void Stalker easily avoided her attacks. It had fought many species with similar weapons, but her attacks served as distractions that helped the human strategy. The Void Stalker began to adapt. It learned the range of their slings, the effects of their chemicals, and the patterns of their movements. The creatures started to counter their attacks more effectively. Lisa realized they needed to change tactics completely. She gave Amy a new signal that meant switch to plan 2. Amy pulled different ropes, and everyone changed their positions and weapon skate through containers that released different chemicals than before. The Void Stalker had adapted to her first compounds, but not these new mixtures. The creature stumbled as unknown effects hit its nervous system. Maya used this confusion to attack with arrows that had different points than before. The Void Stalker had learned to defend against clay points, but these arrows had sharpened bone tips that penetrated differently. The creature roared in frustration. It was learning, but the humans kept changing their methods. The Void Stalker had never faced prey that could innovate faster than it could adapt. Hay switched to plan 3 using hand Signals now instead of ropes. The communication method change confused the creature. It had been learning to predict their coordination through rope movements. Lisa threw her most complex grenades that combined smoke chemicals and sharp fragments. The Void Stalker tried to avoid them, but the explosions created multiple effects simultaneously. The creature could not adapt to everything at once. Gates shot arrows with hollow clay tips. Filled with different plant poisons, the Void Stalker had learned about solid projectiles. But these hollow points released their contents only after penetrating. The creature began showing signs of poisoning. Maya directed a coordinated assault using every weapon type they had created. The humans attacked with slings, arrows, grenades, chemical bombs, and rope traps all at the same time. The Void Stalker tried to adapt, but there were too many different innovations happening simultaneously. Its learning ability became overwhelmed by the variety and complexity of human creative. Lily watched from her tree as the impossible began to happen. The creature that had never been defeated was losing to human innovation. The Void Stalker was strong and smart, but it could not be more creative than its creators had designed. The final attack came when Lisa realized the creature's weakness. It could adapt to anything they did, but only one thing at a time. If they did everything different at once, its adaptation ability failed. Damie, Maya, Kate, and even Zarathic attacked together. Each used completely different methods, from different positions, with different timing. The Void Stalker tried to defend and adapt, but could not process so many innovations. Simultaneously, the creature fell as multiple poisoned arrows found there. Marked chemical bombs exploded around it, and rope traps tangled its legs. The Void Stalker had been defeated by something it could not have been designed to counter. Pure human creativity. Silence fell over the jungle. The most advanced predator in galactic history lay dead, killed by 4 human women using tools made from mud and sticks. The impossible had become reality. High Arbiter Velnara spoke from the sky. Her voice sounded different now, respectful, and amazed humans of Earth. You have accomplished what no species in our history has achieved. War Commander Kelthax spoke next, his voice no longer angry. You have defeated our ultimate test, using methods we never conceived. You have proven that intelligence can triumph over designed perfection. Lisa looked up at the sky. We used only what this planet provided, she said. We broke no rules. We simply refused to accept that problems cannot be solvedly. Rayleigh climbed down from her tree, tears in her eyes. You have shown my people that we gave up too easily, she said. You have proven that innovation matters more than traditions or ethic. Knelt beside the fallen Void Stalker. My people fought with courage, but you fought with wisdom, she said. You have earned not just survival, but respect. Valera continued speaking. The Zephyrian Empire grants humanity full galactic citizenship, she said. More than that, we designate you as a craft world species. You will teach other species the power of innovation. I looked at her friends. We did it, she said. We proved that humans deserve to be among the stars. Kate examined their weapons and tools. We proved that creativity is the most powerful force in the universe, she said. Maya stood over the Void Stalker. We proved that there is no challenge that cannot be overcome with intelligence and teamwork, she said. Lisa felt pride swell in her chest. They had not just survived. They had changed galactic history. They had shown that innovation and creativity were more valuable than any natural advantage. The metal transport returned to take them home, but they would not be the same humans who had been captured. Their species had earned a place among the stars, and a reputation as the most innovative problem solvers in the galaxy. They prepared to leave the planet. Lisa looked back at their camp. The kill still glowed with embers. The tools they had created lay scattered around the battlefield. They had built something from nothing and changed everything. Humanity had passed the ultimate test, not through strength or speed, but through the power to imagine solutions that had never existed before. They had proven that the human mind was the most powerful weapon in the universe.